Jeff Osborne, one of the top directors out there when it comes to music videos, you name it, says, sorry, I'm not sorry. And he joins us in 1 hour. Exclusive, Nicki Minaj's only director says neither I nor the video are anti-Semitic. I mean, give me a break, folks. The video is exposing fascism and is exposing the Illuminati and mind control. You can listen to the song. It's got profanity in it, so we're not going to play it on commercial radio here, FCC radio. But he's come out and said, sorry, I'm not sorry. I had an opportunity and an outlet, which I knew would reach millions of people. I wanted to make a statement. The term New World Order isn't just an edgy pop culture reference. It's a very real and was a term used by President George H.W. Bush, ironically, 10 years to the day before 9/11. That's right. Guess who is a listener? MK Ultra, the School of the Americas, Bush family owned. The fact that in every recent war, the opposition leader has worked for the CIA, that's what's in the song. So, and they're just like, oh, it shows Nazis, ban it. Yeah. It's like when Charlie Chaplin dressed up as a Nazi. Did they call for them to ban it? No, he was making fun of Hitler. I've had it with these people. How stupid do they think you are? How dumb do they think I am? In fact, get me Charlie Chaplin's Dictator of the World. I forget the name of the film. The whole thing's, I think it's the greatest speech, but it's also, it's where he's bouncing the beach ball of the world on his butt. Hey, was Charlie Chaplin an incredible comedian who was a Jew? Is he anti-Semitic? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of it. I tell you what, when George Soros gets arrested as a Nazi war criminal, which he is, a Nazi collaborator, then I'll start thinking you guys have any credibility. How's that sound? When the ADL comes out against Schwarzenegger saying he admires Hitler, then I'll have a little bit of respect for you. You know what? I don't. You use this to demonize people that are exposing fascism. That's what you do. And another quote is, look up from your smartphone and smell the bleeping roses. I'm trying to help you people vilify artists for using this type of imagery in their work as if they're part of the 1% club. Believe me, any artist who has a brain cells knows they're not in that club. That's right. In my opinion, it's not glorification. It's a subliminal warning because you can't openly say these kinds of things. Me, I don't give a bleep. I have no corporate interest, PR team, or image to maintain. That's the kind of talk will bring down the globalists. Just start straight shooting. My comment about the First Amendment was in regard to people demanding the video be removed, not their interpretation of the video, which I will welcomely open, whether positive or negative. Oh, yeah. When people will attack me and I counter them, and they go, don't censor me. They think when you respond back, that's censoring. He goes on to say the point of art is to challenge people and to get them thinking. Absolutely. I mean, it's black people in fascist-style uniforms. They're not even Nazis. But it's meant to be that iconography to get you thinking. I mean, look at how fascist the Senate is. It has actual fasci. Oh, there's Charlie Chaplin, dressed up in a Hitler uniform, with a bust, a Hitler-style bust, and a Nazi-style eagle and a fascist symbol. Oh, my gosh. Censor it right now. Oh, my goodness. Somebody made a catcall video with Princess Leia. Ban it, ban it. This isn't the talk of... see, the people calling us fascist, they're the fascists. People calling this director, Nicki Minaj's director, a fascist, they're the ones. By every yardstick. We'll be back with Dr. Edward Group and a big announcement. Stay with us.
Do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish.
That was from 1940, the end of the film the great dictator, Dr. Edward Group, is in studio with us. The reason we played that intro liner that we've only played a few other times is that it clicked when I saw this on television this morning and saw it in the news headlines. You know, is Nicki Minaj racist? Is she anti-Semitic? Is the director, Jeff Osborne, a bad person? Well, we ended up reaching out to Osborne. It turns out he's aware of us and a listener and is going to be coming on at the start of the next hour. He's a popular music video director and film director. And he said, obviously, this is to show that fascism is rising, mind control, police state. That's why the people are in fascist-style uniforms that aren't even Nazi uniforms. They're as Nazi as Charlie Chaplin. But if an actor plays a Nazi, it doesn't mean they're a Nazi. If Harrison Ford plays a bad guy in a movie, it doesn't mean he's really a bad guy in life. This is political correctness by design, trying to censor things. There's a video out that's a parody piece on the feminist group that did the cat call video where the woman walks around New York and gets whistled at by guys. And so they had Princess Leia do it, and the feminists are calling, we have the story on Infowars.com, for that to be banned and taken down. So they're just making normal human activity, men, hitting on women. And if you talk to a woman, that's fine, I think. I don't think it's very gentlemanly to whistle at them. But if they then ignore you and you keep pushing it, then it starts to become harassment. But I've had women, back when I was about 30 pounds lighter than I am now, whistle at me, from the time I was about 14 to the time I was about 25. And did I get mad? No. And by the way, I'll be honest with you, back in college and stuff, I whistled at plenty of women, and I got plenty of hot dates from doing it. So there's a reason people do it. A lot of women like it. And this is just human activity. If a male badger runs up and scratches the dirt and makes an excited noise to a female badger, is it harassment? Should he be locked up? Is he some kind of evil racist or something, or is he a sexist? This is just trying to create more class warfare. This is simply trying to create more divisions, more manipulation, while the globalists are attacking the very species itself. So I played the Charlie Chaplin piece, and we'll show some of the famous film footage of that for TV viewers. Radio listeners can just go to Infowars.com. We're about to post the video of the great dictator with Charlie Chaplin playing the part of Hitler in a Nazi uniform. Now, Charlie Chaplin was Jewish, and he was acting like he was pro-Nazi to illustrate how absurd it is as a satirist, as satire. I don't even do a lot of satire anymore because the public is so dumbed down on average, not our audience, but folks that I would reach out to on YouTube, that when I dress up as the devil or the Joker, people really freak out and think that because I'm a good actor, when I need to be playing the part of an evil person or whatever, that I must be inherently bad. So we're going to ask the question, is Charlie Chaplin anti-Semitic? Is headline, Nicki Minaj, her director, and Charlie Chaplin anti-Semitic? And say, that's right. According now to the people online and the news articles wanting it pulled down, to show that we're going into a fascist society is anti-Semitic. And they've so overused this anti-Semitism, racism line, you're racist if you don't like Obamacare, that it doesn't even have an effect anymore when you're dealing with real anti-Semites or real racists, and it's very upsetting. So we got the director coming on at the 6, 7 after next hour. For the balance of the time, he'll also be on the nightly news tonight with some other breaking news, is Dr. Edward Group. Anthony Gucciardi went up last weekend to investigate in Dallas at a medical center with medical doctors and nurses, and he hung out with them all weekend. We're friends with them. They also do work down here in Austin. I'll just leave it at that. And they said, yes, they are taking people out of the hospitals that appear to have Ebola. It's still ongoing. You had the Forbes writer say he was at the big press conference, and the media all agreed to cover up Ebola cases. That was in the news a week and a half ago. Drudge picked it up. This is in Forbes now. We've had a medical doctor on, Dr. Lorenzi. I want to get him on tomorrow or Sunday. I'm going to be live. That's where we plan to really break this. But and Anthony said, yeah, but they've declared no Ebola cases. People just basically won't believe us. But I'm like, it doesn't matter if medical doctors on record and off record, and you're going in meeting and they're saying, yes, there appears to be Ebola and they're disappearing people. The story is the disappearing people. And then you have Forbes saying, yeah, we were in on a meeting told to cover it up. And the cops have called and it's been in the news and said we've been told to cover it up. I'm not saying it's the end of the world. I don't think we're going to have an epidemic or pandemic or something. But it sets the precedent of such control that they could do other things and cover up a disappearing talk show host. So they announced a few days ago the country is Ebola-free. As it exponentially ravages Africa, the cases go from the tens of thousands to the hundreds of thousands, up towards the millions. By December, they're estimating. They're going to lead the flights coming in. They keep issuing the visas, and they just say there's no problem. Kind of like the open border was going on for a good 6 months before we finally documented it, that they're busting the illegals in, not just letting them in. So the moral of the story is we're flying blind. It's like driving a car 80 miles an hour with our eyes closed. And we saw some semis coming down the other lane. We're blinded now. We don't know, but I hear cars around me. And so I don't know how many cars there are. I don't know how much Ebola there is, but we need to get pulled over immediately. We need to take our foot off the gas. We need to find out what's going on. That's my allegory. Now, we're going to talk about a big announcement first, then get into a bunch of medical news that Dr. Group wants to get into. But for more than 2 years, but 2 years with us, Dr. Group has been trying to come out with the most powerful form for InfoWarsLife.com of bioavailable fusion of B12. And this is the type, one part of it, half of it, that people inject, but you don't inject it. No needles needed. Other groups just put out, pun intended, synthetic or the other forms. We're going to break down those other forms. This is true B12, the two different types of true. One of it's the type you inject, the other is another type. They fuse together for what we believe, it varies person to person, is the highest absorption rate out there, sublingually or lingually, under the tongue or on the tongue. You're not going to, I mean, others maybe 9%, 10% absorption with synthetics, and you can't even use it. With this, we believe, and he's going to get it as high as 70%. But the point is that this is as close to injectable as you're going to get. I mean, is that accurate in layman's terms? Dr. Edward Group, who joins us, one of the top supplement formulators and nutraceutical formulators in the country, who we're so honored to have developing our line at InfoWarsLife.com with other doctors and pharmacists and people that we also consult with and chemists. Why is Secret 12 so special? I've been on it 4 months since we finally got the final formula prepared. And again, it is just all part of my regimen where I mix the Super Male Vitality, the Secret 12, and other things together and take it. It is simply amazing. When I don't take it 3 times a day, I really feel it.
First of all, I'm a vegan, so there's a lot of information out there saying vegetarians, vegans are deficient in B12. So it kind of put me on a research task or study about 2 years ago, really getting into what's going on with B12. Is that something that only vegetarians are deficient in, or is that something that everybody's deficient in? And one thing led to another. You know, I'm not the type of guy who likes to have or prescribe people 30 or 40 different supplements out there. But as my research continued on B12, I started uncovering things and uncovering more things and uncovering more things. And it led to kind of like the iodine conspiracy, where I believe that everybody is deficient in B12. Most people think you get B12 from meat, but you don't get B12 from meat. B12 actually comes from probiotics in the soil. And in order for B12 to be produced, you need cobalt in the soil. Well, because of all the pesticides and everything else that's been sprayed on the soil, 60% of the world's soil is now deficient in cobalt. So looking at that and then looking at all the different things that can affect B12 absorption in the body is what I did. I said, okay, so if there's something really going on with B12, what could it be? How does GMOs affect B12 absorption in the body? Sure enough, GMOs, the Bt toxin, burn through the parietal cells in the stomach.
Just saw a study last week that glyphosates block it.
Glyphosates block it. That's one of the other things. So then I started going down the list. Fluoride. All of the things that...
They know what they're doing. They're targeting us.
They know what they're doing.
It's a chemical war.
I mean, it is amazing that how all these things affect. Really, what happens is B12 comes into the mouth and it mixes in with your saliva. You have enzymes in your mouth that actually bond and hold on to it, so it's protected through the gastric hydrochloric acid levels in your stomach. And your parietal cells in your stomach secrete what's called intrinsic factor. Intrinsic factor.
I'm going to skip this one break. Go.
Intrinsic factor then, when it goes into the duodenum or the small intestine, bonds to the B12. So if you look at it, what I did was put all the pieces together and found out that any damage to the parietal cells in the stomach is going to reduce or stop the amount of intrinsic factor being released, which ultimately means no B12 absorption. What affects the parietal cells? Exactly what we're talking about. High fructose corn syrup, heavy metals, GMOs, gluten. All the people that eat wheat out there, that affects your parietal cells in your stomach. So as I was continually doing this research, I was saying to myself, oh my gosh, I mean, this is a serious condition. Symptoms of B12 deficiency are fatigue, neurological problems, shrinkage of the brain. B12 is required for your proper blood cell development, which means lack of oxygen carrying capacity in the body, which means lack of oxygen in the body, lack of oxygen in the muscles, muscle twitching, vibratory senses.
I don't know if the camera can pick up how beautiful this is, but I have seen the medical grade, non-synthetic, high-quality B12 because I have some friends that have prescriptions for it. Quite frankly, I was thinking about going to the doctor and getting a prescription because people tell me it's had such a big effect on them, taking it, especially in the winter. But this is the same color, it looks the same, and then water does the same thing as the injectable because it is molecule for molecule the same thing. I mean, look at that. Just a few drops, and it's that beautiful purple pink, just like the iodine. What is it about stuff that's so good for you has a purple-pink color?
I don't know. The standard type of B12 that's available is cyanocobalamin, and it's actually cobalamin. That's where you get cobalt in the soil. Cobalamin bonded to a cyanide molecule. Cyanide is poison. So cyanocobalamin is what's in the majority of the dietary supplements out there, and it's in the majority of the injections that they give you in the hospital. They give you injections because they know most people that are B12 deficient are not going to get it through the mouth. They can't process the intrinsic factor properly. They can't absorb it properly. B12 is absorbed into your body in the terminal ileum, right there where your small intestine meets the large intestine, right there where your appendix is. An interesting story that came out years ago by the Hippocrates Institute, Dr. Brian Clement, who went to Harvard Medical Library and went to New York Medical Library and pulled up pictures of intestinal linings that were drawn dating back to the 17th century, showed a little pocket, almost looked like a boot right there where the appendix was. And years and years and years ago, they stated that that's where the vitamin B was stored. It was like a little organic organ. And now they're saying that that pocket has shrunk and shrunk and shrunk and has turned into the appendix. It's an interesting theory. There's no proof behind that. But in order for you to get the proper absorbable kind of B12, you're going to need methylcobalamin, which is actually a coenzyme of B12.
Let's explain why this has two different types in it.
Yes, there's two different coenzymes that are usable in the body, which is methylcobalamin and adenosylcobalamin, also known as dibencoside. Those are the two coenzyme factors. Methylcobalamin actually breaks down into adenosylcobalamin.
Okay, well, I mean, here's the deal. I've been on road trips and gone ahead and done like an energy drink or those little energy shots. It gives you a high, you feel horrible 4 hours later, there's a hangover. I take this when it first came in, actually about 6 months ago, one of the earlier formulations, and 4 months ago, the final one, and you sent us about 100 bottles, and everybody just started fighting over them because people immediately felt this. Now, this is more important than my coffee in the morning. Why is this so good compared to other vitamin B12 I've taken?
I think 99% of the population is deficient in B12. I think everybody needs B12. Even children need B12. You don't need a lot. It's only micrograms. But the reason why that's so effective is because it's the coenzyme usable forms in the body. It's in a vegetable glycerin base, so you can hold it in your mouth. It goes sublingually directly into your...
It's not synthetic.
It's not synthetic. It's vegan safe, actually, too, because it's cultured from bacterial cells. and it goes straight into your body, and it's in the two usable forms. I mean, methylcobalamin is expensive in itself, but to put the adenylcobalamin in there, that's $14,000 a kilogram. So what we're trying to do is get everybody the usable amount of B12 that
the point is, this is a Rolls-Royce NutriMedical level. There's only a few other brands that are similar. They're like $100. I mean, explain to people why this is different. So you can go to the store and buy synthetic B12, for $10 for a big bottle of it. And from what I've read, it just does nothing, basically, right?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't do anything. B12 is stored in your liver, and so what we wanted to do is put together, it's a processing technique, too, that we have that nobody else has. It's a cold processing technique because most of the B12 that's manufactured out there goes through a heating process. I don't understand why, because B12 is denatured. That's why every time you cook your food, meat or whatever, 89% of the B12 is deactivated in your system. Microwaving food completely, almost 100% wipes out the B12. That's why I say everybody is deficient in B12. This is a particular cold processing technique that we use where we mix the two forms of B12 together. It almost, the vegetable glycerin almost creates a capsule around it, so it bonds with the
That is the most beautiful color. What do you call that color? I don't know if the camera can pick that up.
It's kind of like a fuchsia or something. Like a pinkish red fuchsia color.
Are they both that color when you mix them, or are they different colors?
They are. They are that color. And the adenylcobalamin is almost the crystalline structure like the iodine is. We'll have to get some video footage of that for you, too, so we can show all the viewers. But it's an amazingly pure substance. The crystals and the methylcobalamin, all the care is taken to make sure that it's not heated. We put it into the bottles.
By the way, the reason I work with you, Dr. Grip, is you are so obsessed with the absolute highest quality, double, triple tested, just neurotic level, which I love, because the other companies, and I'm not just saying this, I've gotten deep into this, a lot of them out there just don't care and just throw crud out. That's why, I work with longevity because they have such high quality, but you just go to such a level that's why half the time we don't even have product, is because you're trying to source it and just go, sorry, I can't get a totally organic, 100% California certified, super grade, super totally undetectable. So we just either take the ingredient out or we're not going to do it. And I mean, or I've got to get the, DEA approval for this deep crystal source. Wait, it took you years to get that. I mean, you are just a trailblazer.
That's right. When I do a product, I want to make sure it's the best in the world. And I take a lot of time to do it. It took 2 years to do the research on the B12 and to find the proper ratio and the way to put it together properly. That's, I sent you samples. You were taking it on the air. That was the secret red liquid that everybody was saying, what are you taking? Finally, today, it's launched after all that research and all that time period it took to put that together. One of the things that people need to understand is that if you're diabetic, if you have heart disease, if you have medications, I was looking at what blocks the absorption of B12, and most medications block the absorption of B12. If you're on birth control pills, you're going to have a B12 deficiency. It's amazing of all of the chemicals out there in food products that block B12. That's why they spray B12 on cereals. And the reason why they say eat meat products and dairy, that's a big myth about the vegetarians are deficient in B12, because why do you think the animals have high levels of B12? Because they eat grass and they get it from the soil. That's why they have high levels of B12. It's the cobalt in the soil.
So what this is a bioavailable form, a cobalt molecule derivative.
Yes, this is, as a matter of fact, whenever they first found B12, it was a probiotic, but they hadn't even classified probiotics back then, so they didn't know what to do with this chemical compound. So they said, let's stick it. It was kind of close to B vitamin, so they said, let's stick it in the B vitamin.
But that's right. I always hear about how deer have really high B12, and they're not eating meat. They're eating grass.
They eat grass. That's why the animals and chickens, they're grass-fed. I mean, if you're going to eat meat, and I'm not out there telling everybody to be a vegan or a vegetarian. I mean, that's, your own.
Yeah, knock it off.
You need to take care of your own.
I'm just joking. I'm joking.
But it might help for a little while. Anyway, just make sure you're eating organic, range-fed, wild game, stuff like that, where they're out there eating the soil and the grass, and they get dirt into their body too, and that's how they get high B12 levels, and that's how you get it. But the thing is, What I found in the last 2 years of research is you might think you're getting B12 from the animal products, but you're really not. And the reason why is it's not that it's not there. The reason is you're also eating gluten, and you're also eating, by the way, alcohol too causes damage to the parietal cells. And so does coffee, excessive coffee use. So how many people out there do you know that drink coffee, energy drinks, caffeine?
And then meanwhile, it's depleting you. Meanwhile, the soils are depleted of all this other stuff. That's why they have this RDA that's so low. Well, obviously, you need way more of it because it's being depleted. But I want to congratulate you. As best you can tell, this proprietary formulation, and I see all your Tufts University studies found 39% of all people are deficient in B12. You think it's 90%. I mean, I want to congratulate you on the fact that you've really created something original here.
Thanks. I appreciate it. I mean, it's just one other thing that we can give to people to help them become healthier and healthier and healthier.
Well, folks, it's available and it's very affordable at InfoWarsLife.com, and it will sell out. We have a limited amount, unfortunately. InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. All right, we're going to get out of the plugging of Secret 12 here in a moment, but I wanted Dr. Group to specifically talk about this proprietary product he developed for InfoWarsLife.com. We are trying to produce more right now. We've actually had some in for a few weeks, but I was trying to build some up so that we wouldn't just immediately sell out of it because it is frustrating. You know, his laboratory is pretty big, but it's producing a lot of stuff, and you know, it's he will sell no wine until it's time, as Orson Welles once said. But if you want to get the Secret 12, I'd love to hear your take on it. It's $29, which for this super expensive proprietary ingredients that go into it. To give you an example, we could buy it from big manufacturers that are well-known, supposedly organic, and it would be a bottle of like 50 for $2, and then we would sell it for $20. That's what the industry does. Instead, you know, we put $10 into a bottle, basically, and then sell it and make 20 to fund the operation. Because there's still markup there, big time. But the average markup in the industry 7 times, we do it once or twice, or 150%. And again, you're not going to find anything like Secret 12 out there, period. I mean, there may be some nutraceuticals I don't know about. Why is this so different? Explain that to people. Then I want to shift gears into other health news.
Well, it's so special because everybody needs it. I mean, if anyone has fatigue, if anyone has mood swings, if anyone has neurological conditions, the problem with B12 is it's never looked at by doctors. It's a vitamin deficiency, so of course doctors are never going to.
Well, just like if you have scurvy, they don't diagnose scurvy now, even though scurvy's all over the place with people that eat fast food diets.
Right. Right. I mean,
teeth falling out, sores all over you, zits all over you. You got scurvy. They won't tell you an orange would cure it.
Anxiety and depression. You know how big anxiety and depression is. Anxiety and depression are specifically linked to B12 deficiency. You can link it to autism, ADD, ADHD. You can link cold hands and feet, tingling nerve sensations, brain misdevelopment. It can be linked to all kinds of things. Just take the oxygen carrying capacity out of the blood, and that's going to cause all kinds of problems in itself. But what makes this so special is the fact that from start to finish, the product is not irradiated, which most manufacturing facilities out there irradiate their products. It's pretty much handmade. It's all done in borosilicate glass mixing vessels. All the other manufacturing facilities out there, they all use stainless steel, aluminum-based mixing vessels. The difference between using glass-lined vessels or all glass-lined vessels is tremendous. I mean, we've had to actually get some of our vessels custom-made just so we can do this, to where these compounds are never in contact with any metal. A lot of times metal will deactivate the energy signatures, or the metal can heat up in certain cases. It's just not good to touch nutritional supplements against metal. As much as you can to prevent it, that's the best way to do it. So we looked all over the globe and tried to find the highest quality, purest source of methylcobalamin. You can buy 90% methylcobalamin, 96%, 99%, 99.6, 99.7, 99.8, 99.9%. We always get the 99%. There might be a difference for the 99.6% might be 6,000 a kilogram. 99.9% might be double that. 12. It's hard to get those extra tiny percentages. It's like 0.999 silver and 0.9999 silver. So we get the top quality ingredients, come in, inspect them, and then it goes basically a handmade process through our specific cold processing technique to where the methylcobalamin gets mixed in with the glycerin, then the adenosylcobalamin gets mixed in with the glycerin. It's all done in
Then it gets sent to third-party lab testing.
It does get sent to third-party lab testing, and then it goes into bottling, and then it comes straight to here for the consumer's use. So I'm just amazed at what I've uncovered with the fact, data, looking at all the way back into the soil content and seeing how deficient we are as a nation in B12. And it's just like iodine, the same thing. Those are the things that I search for. What are the things that we really need in the body, that all the cells need in the body, and what are the things that we're deficient in, and then try to trace it back to why are we deficient?
Well, everybody can see the difference now that I'm on this line of supplements you developed for us. I mean, I still don't look super healthy and skinny and like you do, Mr. Commando. But I mean, you see me every few weeks. You go, man, you're looking better, and I just have more energy, and I'm still not totally taking care of myself. Barely get sleep sometimes, but it's just a world changer. The Super Mel Vitality, the colloidal silver, all the line of products, the Oxy powder, what it's done. Did you hear about Rob Dew was already in pretty good shape? In 6-7 days, he lost 12 pounds of crap in his intestines taking the Oxy tablets. He took about a third of the bottle and lost 12 pounds.
We have people that call in and say, yeah, I lost 20 pounds in 3 days. But that just goes to show you how much compaction people have in their small intestine and their large intestine.
No wonder you get cancer. There's just rotting diverticulitis.
Right. And, every single thing starts in the gut. The immune system's in the gut. Everything's in the gut. And what are we putting in our body? Everything that destroys the gut. So if you can keep somebody asked me yesterday, what's the one thing somebody can do if they wanted one product or something like that? I said, the best thing you can do is support your gut. I mean, a lot of times if you have a good probiotic balance in your gut, those probiotics produce B vitamins. They produce nutrients that you need. So it's all about taking care of yourself, eating healthy, drinking lots of water, avoiding all the chemicals that are coming into your system, and taking responsibility for your own health so you can reactivate your body's own self-healing mechanism. And that's what we're all about, and that's what we try to do on a daily basis. And what you're doing with everybody is trying to really get the word out and provide them with the highest quality supplements in the world so they can change their health. I just read a testimonial that came in, someone sent in a few minutes ago back in the other room here, where somebody's cat that they were in love with was sent home by the veterinarian to die. It was a Siamese cat, apparently worth tons of money. And the guy had some X2, some iodine. And he said, well, let me just try this. And he put 3 drops in the cat's mouth. And within 2 days, the cat was up walking around. He wrote, thank you, Alex. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You saved my cat. And he's been putting iodine in the cat's water, and the cat's fine. And
well, I want to be clear about something. I've known there's a war on our food and war on supplements. But I got kind of subconsciously, not depressed, but resigned, where I'll just do whatever I want. I'll eat whatever I want. I'll drink whatever I want. They're going to get me anyways. And I went from working out when I was like 25, almost every day and being in great shape, to being Job of the Hut. And the first few years, it's like, great. I'd eat and drink whatever I want. I still look great. And all of a sudden, I turned into Job of the Hut. So it's been a long process of getting out of that, but it's supercharged with you the last 2.5, 3 years. You were advising me even before, we started launching this together. But we have to fund ourselves with T-shirts and books and videos that are always about spreading the word. Anything I do has to have a win-win for freedom. High quality, good-looking shirt, made in America, well-priced, funding the operation, giving Americans jobs, trying to get vets jobs. Because I'm not some goody two-shoes. I understand the universal law that what I do to people comes back on me. And people can call that God-fearing if you're a Christian, whatever. When I even think bad thoughts that aren't even my thoughts, it's my brain looking at things from the enemy perspective, I still feel guilty. It's what I call that knowledge of evil. That I know how evil works, that is shameful. I mean, you see what I'm talking about? And so when I get up here and I say, this is the best product, this is the most expensive we could get at the lowest price to you, I'm shocked to know that 70% or so is a conservative number of the nutraceutical companies out there. I'm not knocking competition because it's such a growing market. I don't need to. I'm shocked they will go all marketing, all packaging, all glitz, all everything, And then now that I know all about this, it's crud in the bottle. And it makes me so angry because as an industry, we should be going for the best so people get incredible results, help people get good karma, mojo, reap what you sow, whatever you want to call it. But it will grow the market faster because it'll be so dynamite, the results. Doing the right thing is the right thing to do. I just don't understand why people don't get that, and it's why it's so good to work with you. But when I get up here and I say, this Super B12 Secret 12 has, that's my name for it, it's all secret, what how you make it and the proprietary stuff. Plus, I had to keep it secret for months. We thought we'd have it 4 months ago. I'm having to keep it secret. Well, I've been in here taking it every day when I take the other stuff in front of people and, trying to hide what it said on the, on the hand-printed bottle. So it's just, it feels so good to have fair price stuff that funds liberty and freedom, to promote Second Amendment property rights, sovereignty, basic dignity, and to be able to fund the operation and help people. And then, I can't believe I'm saying this, but we don't screen the calls. Callers have heard it. It almost gets annoying how many callers off topic are, thank you for the products, but I understand we appreciate them. But we're on other subjects. It just blows me away that we haven't had any complaints other than in the bottling once. We think it was 20 bottles. Only about 10 of them came back where the machine didn't fully fill the bottle and we didn't catch it on inspection. I mean, we've had stuff like that. Or my bottle got broken inside the bubble wrap. Oh, here, boom, here's an extra bottle, or here's a free book or something. Because we're all about customer service. Used to, I didn't know how to run customer service. 10 years ago, it was terrible. We have a first-rate group now. And because people really take that personal when you don't got your, what together. So I know I'm ranting here, and I'm going to get into some other medical news and get off B12. It's just that simple deficiencies, vitamin C, you got to have true vitamin C. You got to have true B12. You got to have true nascent iodine. And then it blew us away when we couldn't even get enough of your iodine. We went out to other parties and said, if they want it, we'll get anything, alcohol-based. And we went and looked at it. It wasn't really even nascent iodine. So they're just sticking iodine in with alcohol, regular iodine. And again, that'll help you not be totally sick, but we want to just for the same price give you something that is just like heads above it. I mean, I had dramatic effects when I started taking iodine 4 years ago. That's what helped me start getting out of this. And when I went into your iodine, it was just night and day to that. That's all I'm saying. If you can't afford X2, folks, go get the sea salts that they have the iodine in them. There'll still be some other contaminants and things in it, but it's better than being deficient. You'll die without it. It's real simple. This is not rocket science. I can't believe it's us telling people you've got to have B12. You've got to have nascent iodine. You've got to have it. What happens if you don't have vitamin B12?
You die. Just like iodine. And many people have died, and many people have been misdiagnosed. One of the most common misdiagnoses of vitamin B12 deficiency is MS. You can have Alzheimer's, dementia. You will literally die, waste away, and die if you don't have B12 in your system.
Ted Anderson's dad, he allows me to tell this story, and it's such a horrible story. He says, I don't care, tell it. I think I ought to get Ted Anderson in here. The Beyond Tangy Tangerine from InfoWarsHealth.com longevity. That's got the essential 90. They say only need like 60, but really it's 90 trace elements, minerals. It's an excellent product. And they have the 2.0 that's purely organic. Very hard to get that many ingredients and all organic, as you know. But his dad has Alzheimer's. I've met his dad before, nice guy. They like to go fishing, hunting up in Minnesota. He went on that for a few months and suddenly knew who he was. Short-term memory was back. They were fishing. His dad was back. The sores all over his arms, scurvy, healed. They went and tested his blood at the doctor, and they have him on, I guess, Coumadin. Never had a stroke or heart attack, but blood thinner. I think that's the thing he said. And the doctor said, whoa, you got vitamin K here. Are you eating a lot of spinach? What are you doing? No, I take this Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Oh, my gosh, you got to go off this. And Ted's mom said, and his dad went within a month of going off of it. Didn't know who he was again. Sores came back. And he said, fine, I'll honor my parents. You just go ahead and don't do it. But the doctor said, you don't take that and you don't eat these leafy vegetables because it'll block the Coumadin. So, okay, you're not going to have a heart attack. But you don't know who you are. I mean, it's crazy that you can't have the vitamins. You can't have the minerals. And it's just simple. It's not rocket science.
It's not. I mean, our water inside of our system is just like seawater. It's full of minerals and nutrients. And if we're not getting them in the soil, the problem is they're killing off the soil. They're poisoning the water. They're poisoning the air, all the things that we need to survive. But the good news is there's a solution, and it's not that hard. All you need to take is a good organic multivitamin and mineral formula. Take the nutrients that you're not going to get in your normal diet.
So beyond Tangy Tangerine, Secret 12.
Iodine. And any type of herbal formula to assist anything else that you need help with.
What about folks that are really poor? And even though our stuff is fairly priced, and very effectively priced, reasonably priced, to be competitive and high quality, what can a poor person do to get their essentials? Obviously, eat the orange peel.
The thing, people ask me that question all the time, and I always ask them, how many pairs of shoes do you buy? How many new shirts do you buy? What do you spend your money on? The thing is, you can if you change your life, how much does being sick cost you? Being sick costs people a lot of money. It costs their family time, suffering, depression, anxiety. They go back and forth to the doctor, which costs them gas. If you look at the pricing and the cost of sick care, it's a lot more than the pricing and cost of health care.
So what's the real, there's a lot of game now sold in stores. So I guess you could get real game. I'll have vitamin B12 in it. I guess you can get, from an orange peel or whatever, mega dosages or rose hips are like super cheap. I guess you could get...
well, you can go to your local farmer's market. Every single town has one, or find a farmer that's growing organically.
What's the best salt to get iodine if you can't afford this?
Himalayan crystal salt. Himalayan crystal salt is what I use. It has 84 minerals and nutrients in it. And
so the poor man's Beyond Tangy Tangerine is Himalayan salt.
Yes. The poor man's Tangy Tangerine is Himalayan. I'll tell you another really, really good nutrient source that I use, and this is all that I...
We're just trying to help people that can't...
Yeah, no, exactly. You can get this for $4 and pretty much get all the nutrients you need. Is raw organic apple cider vinegar. Go to the store.
Oh, yeah, you got me on that. And that's what I've been forgetting to take. I need to take it.
Put a tablespoon or a teaspoon, however much you can handle, in some distilled water.
That's the best probiotic.
Water, and you're going to get all kinds of nutrients, minerals, probiotics in there, enzymes in there. A big problem is we don't secrete enough enzymes in our body to help us digest foods. So
chew your food well.
Chew your food well. That's really important, which I tell people all the time. Chew their food until it's a liquid before they swallow it.
My dad always said that. Chew your food. Chew your food.
Right, exactly.
I still don't. I act like a wolf.
Well, usually people in the military wolf their food down because you only have a certain amount of time to eat.
Well, I never
changed my eating habits when I was in the military because they were like, you have 10 minutes to eat this. And we would be like...
Well, I was about to say, I used to be pretty well behaved. My mom was always about be a gentleman, have good manners. I could go... eat at the rich people's houses, and they'd all be impressed. Now, I eat like a barbarian. I'm trying to train myself again because I got kids, so they're not like little pigs, like the pig family. I mean, that cute way. But, yeah, having to eat like during a couple 3-minute breaks, that's what really screwed my gut up, too, because I wasn't digesting.
Well, I did a report on how people eat nowadays and found out that the majority of people eat in the sympathetic state. And you have a parasympathetic nervous system and a sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic is your fight or flight response. When you're in the sympathetic state, and that means eating while you're driving, eating while you're talking on the phone, eating while you're watching TV, eating while you're on the computer at work. I have a whole list of all.
Well, that's why in the Bible it says, I forget the passages, you're supposed to sit down, pray, be calm, and take a long time to eat as a family.
And so what happens is your digestion comes to a halt when you're in the sympathetic state, when you're eating a sympathetic.
And the way we used to eat dinner, it was almost like meditation. It was a big ritual.
Right.
That ritual's gone. They've destroyed it. Said you're in front of the television. Oh, my gosh, it's such a conspiracy. We'll be right back. I was going to have Anthony Gucciardi in here to do his report on going up to Dallas to investigate Ebola. Now they've declared it Ebola-free. We're just going to have a medical doctor on who first blew the whistle tomorrow about the intel he's getting from up in Missouri, and then he will write a report tonight or tomorrow that will accompany that about what we found in Dallas. But they are disappearing people who appear to have Ebola. Forbes, separate from us, said, yeah, the media's agreed that cases that look like it are being disappeared. We don't talk about it. You don't talk about people being disappeared? This is confirmed by a doctor on record, at least 2 other doctors off record with us who we know. I mean, one of them's big. Runs a bunch of stuff, big hospitals. This is freaking me out because it's like a Twilight Zone episode. Doctor,
some of the families are starting to come.
That's who we were meeting with. They're freaking out. Yeah, they say, yeah, my husband died of Ebola.
Exactly.
You have people dying on planes, vomiting with blood coming out, and they go, oh, when it lands, it wasn't Ebola. Obviously, they're covering it up. They told the police don't talk about it. They don't know what's going on. They just say if it looks like it, shut up. But that's illegal to disappear people and not be honest about it. So see, this was hurting Obama. He wants to leave the borders open. So now they're just going to deny it's out there.
I'm surprised that it didn't spread a little bit more. They didn't do something to create a little bit more panic.
I think when the panic when they were getting the blame, they thought they would just have Ebola here and no one would go, well, why is the border open? When we made it political, they had to back off.
Mm-hmm.
When Drudge did. Because remember, they had all their pundits attack Drudge. Stop saying it's going to spread. Then it started spreading. Oh, really? Well, now it's not spreading.
Well, there's definitely a reason behind it. You know, that's yet to be determined. But if you look at all the research that we've been talking about in past shows and everything you've been uncovering about the CDC owning the patent, I mean, there's no reason why, if you link everything together with them owning the patent, with them, you know, verifying a rabies Ebola vaccine back in the 90s, all the hermetically sealed coffins that they have stored away, all the FEMA camps that have been put together that have been verified.
I think it's what Obama said. This is a test run.
All the underground facilities that are pretty much complete right now. So, I mean, yeah, exactly. He came out and said it was a test run. They put everything out there.
And they're test running to see if they can control the media when there's an outbreak and cover it up. That is creepy, because to me, it's not even an Ebola issue. I'm going to say it again. We have doctors naming themselves. We have Forbes confirming what we said. They're in the meeting. The media is agreeing to not talk about it and cover it up. Boom, it's done. I mean, there's something going on here.
The thing is, if for some people that actually pay attention to the alternative media, they know. I mean, you've been covering all this for a long period of time, so they should know what to do, and they should be prepared and have everything that they need just in case or when it does happen, because they obviously wanted to test everybody out and see how everybody reacted to this, and they did create a lot of fear. I know my phones were ringing off the hook saying, what can we take? How can we protect ourselves? So I think that they accomplished what they wanted to accomplish and found out how the world would react. Now it's just a matter of time. I think that, we know for a fact that they have stored up biological weapons that can be used at any time. They can be mixed in with the chemtrails and sprayed on us. So now it's just a matter of time before something like that happens. But
we're already being hit by the soft kill garbage, so we don't know what got us. It's just a cocktail of testing and manipulation. Well, we're going to continue to follow this. We've got a bunch of big guests on tomorrow. We've got Clive and Bundy. They've been getting harassed, put on terrorist lists and stuff. But, Harry Reid, the repudiation of him, I think, is showing who the real terrorist of the Constitution is. That's coming up. We have the director of the new Nicki Minaj video that they're trying to censor coming on as well to talk about First Amendment issues. But do 5 more minutes with us before that director comes on. Folks, it's a great sales tactic because it's true. Secret 12 at the current rate it's selling will be sold out in about 4 days. InfoWarsLife.com if you want to get it. And it supports the transmission. Thank you all. Final segment with Dr. Edward Group of the Global Healing Center. I'm Alex Jones of Infowars.com. And yes, we did about 30 minutes of that last hour of midair refueling, I call it, funding our operation, rolling out a new product. Little news flash, when you listen to talk radio or nightly news or the morning shows on CBS, ABC, NBC, almost all of that is an infomercial product placement. When they're reviewing a movie or reviewing a product or reviewing a book, it's an imprint of News Corp. When we're openly selling something to you, we just say we're selling it. When I'm selling Rick Ross's book about the fake drug war and the CIA and Gary Webb and all the rest of it, I just say we're selling the book. Get it at InfoWarsStore.com. And I'm not going to belabor this anymore, but Secret 12 really is. Do you believe from your research putting this out, this is the best vitamin B12 supplement out there?
No doubt. I don't put out anything that's not the best, and that's just the way we are.
What should the headline on this interview be then when we put it on YouTube? You will die without B12?
Well, that's true. You will. I mean, I don't know. Whatever the best headline would be, something about
not knowing this.
Everybody needs B12, whether you think so or your doctor doesn't even know you need B12. But
how about the B12 conspiracy?
The B12 conspiracy, there's definitely a lot that goes on. As a matter of fact, they just the supplier of potatoes that supplies McDonald's for their French fries, the USDA and the FDA just approved the new GMO potato for the supplier. So pretty soon, all of the McDonald's French fries are going to be with the new.
And by the way, they had top scientists come out and say that potato's dangerous.
That potato is seriously dangerous. And they also just approved a form of alfalfa, too, a GMO form of alfalfa. So Yeah, but the good thing is, at least people are stepping up. I mean, right now, again, Monsanto, they wrote an article about me the other day about how much I was a quack. And the Oregon vote that's going on right now.
Monsanto wrote an article about you?
Yeah, they did on one of their farm blogs, just the other day.
Yeah, well, that's like Satan, saying that the Apostle Paul was a bad guy. I mean, Monsanto's got about the lowest rating out there.
Yeah, I know. It's
I mean, you are a kook.
Monsanto's like the devil. I mean, dating back to Agent Orange, and now that all the dioxins that are killing the soil. It really all goes back to the soil. Somebody asked me, well, how come there's some areas like the Hunza people and some people that live in the mountains that aren't deficient of everything, and they're still exposed to toxic air and water? I said, because everything comes back to the soil. What they do is they take care of their soil. They use their own urine to fertilize the soil. There's some cultures in Siberia that soak the seeds in their mouth, and the seeds literally read what their body is deficient of, and they plant them. That's verified. It's in Siberia. These cultures, they're really tight-knit. They use all their feces. Everything goes back into the soil to build the soil, and as long as the soil is healthy and the soil is mineralized, the plants will grow what you need to survive. See, that's the problem. We've gone from community growing and everybody working together and using recycling everything, whether it's your urine or your feces or whatever, recycling it into the soil, to spraying chemicals. The agricultural society is just as bad as the pharmaceutical. It's done by design. The pharmaceutical companies are designed to poison you with pharmaceutical drugs. The agricultural society is designed to poison the earth with chemicals and drugs.
And they know what they're doing is killing the soil.
They know, because if you kill the worms, you kill the probiotics in the soil. That's what recycles and aerates the soil and keeps all the vitamins and the minerals and the nutrients.
Have you seen Interstellar?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Well, that's basically what happens is a blight fungus gets in the atmosphere and takes all the oxygen out of the earth. And I see that that's basically what they're trying to do. These people are out of control.
I mean, the millions and millions and millions of forests that have been cut down, that's exactly what's happening. We've gone from 30% oxygen in the air down to about...
And now they want to cut carbon dioxide the plants breathe. Secret 12, folks. Find out more. Infowars Live. Great job, group.
Thank you. Introducing the first proprietary oxygen-based intestinal cleanser, Oxy Powder. Backed by real FDA-approved phase 1, 2, and 3 clinical trials. People are suffering from all kinds of digestive issues these days. All the toxins from the air, the food, the water, ultimately ends up in the gut or affects the gut. My main focus was to come up with a remedy for this, something that's safe and effective that anyone can take on a regular basis to keep their intestinal lining clean. My recommendation is to clean your intestines at least 2 to 3 times a week to prevent the toxic buildup from going into your bloodstream. Take your health into your own hands and start cleansing your body today with Oxy Powder. Secure your Oxy Powder today at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
That's the kind of talk will bring down the globalists. Just start straight shooting. My comment about the First Amendment was in regard to people demanding the video be removed, not their interpretation of the video, which I will welcomely open, whether positive or negative. Oh, yeah. When people will attack me and I counter them, and they go, don't censor me. They think when you respond back, that's censoring. He goes on to say the point of art is to challenge people and to get them thinking. Absolutely. I mean, it's black people in fascist-style uniforms. They're not even Nazis. But it's meant to be that iconography to get you thinking. I mean, look at how fascist the Senate is. It has actual fasci. Oh, there's Charlie Chaplin, dressed up in a Hitler uniform, with a bust, a Hitler-style bust, and a Nazi-style eagle and a fascist symbol. Oh, my gosh. Censor it right now. Oh, my goodness. Somebody made a catcall video with Princess Leia. Ban it, ban it. This isn't the talk of, see, the people calling us fascist, they're the fascists. People calling this director, Nicki Minaj's director, a fascist, they're the ones. By every yardstick. We'll be back with Dr. Edward Group and a big announcement. Stay with us. Jeff Osborne, one of the top directors out there when it comes to music videos, you name it, says, sorry, I'm not sorry. And he joins us in 1 hour. Exclusive, Nicki Minaj's only director says neither I nor the video are anti-Semitic. I mean, give me a break, folks. The video is exposing fascism and is exposing the Illuminati and mind control. You can listen to the song. It's got profanity in it, so we're not going to play it on commercial radio here, FCC radio. But he's come out and said, sorry, I'm not sorry. I had an opportunity and an outlet, which I knew would reach millions of people. I wanted to make a statement. The term New World Order isn't just an edgy pop culture reference. It's a very real and was a term used by President George H.W. Bush, ironically, 10 years to the day before 9/11. That's right. Guess who is a listener? MK Ultra, the School of the Americas, Bush family owned. The fact that in every recent war, the opposition leader has worked for the CIA, that's what's in the song. So, and they're just like, oh, it shows Nazis, ban it. Yeah.
Do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish.
That was from 1940, the end of the film, The Great Dictator. Dr. Edward Group is in studio with us. The reason we played that intro liner that we've only played a few other times is that it clicked when I saw this on television this morning and saw it in the news headlines. You know, is Nicki Minaj racist? Is she anti-Semitic? Is the director, Jeff Osborne, a bad person? Well, we ended up reaching out to Osborne. It turns out he's aware of us and a listener and is going to be coming on at the start of the next hour. He's a popular music video director and film director. And he said, obviously, this is to show that fascism is rising, mind control, police state. That's why the people are in fascist-style uniforms that aren't even Nazi uniforms. They're as Nazi as Charlie Chaplin. But if an actor plays a Nazi, it doesn't mean they're a Nazi. If Harrison Ford plays a bad guy in a movie, it doesn't mean he's really a bad guy in life. This is political correctness by design, trying to censor things. It's like when Charlie Chaplin dressed up as a Nazi. Did they call for them to ban it? No, he was making fun of Hitler. I've had it with these people. How stupid do they think you are? How dumb do they think I am? In fact, get me Charlie Chaplin's Dictator of the World. I forget the name of the film. The whole thing's, I think it's The Greatest Speech, but it's also, it's where he's bouncing the beach ball of the world on his butt. Hey, was Charlie Chaplin an incredible comedian who was a Jew? Is he anti-Semitic? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of it. I tell you what, when George Soros gets arrested as a Nazi war criminal, which he is, a Nazi collaborator, then I'll start thinking you guys have any credibility. How's that sound? When the ADL comes out against Schwarzenegger saying he admires Hitler, then I'll have a little bit of respect for you. You know what? I don't. You use this to demonize people that are exposing fascism. That's what you do. And another quote is, look up from your smartphone and smell the bleeping roses. I'm trying to help you people vilify artists for using this type of imagery in their work as if they're part of the 1% club. Believe me, any artist who has a brain cells knows they're not in that club. That's right. in my opinion, it's not glorification. It's a subliminal warning because you can't openly say these kinds of things. Me, I don't give a bleep. I have no corporate interest, PR team, or image to maintain. Because there's a video out that's a parody piece on the feminist group that did the cat call video where the woman walks around New York and gets whistled at by guys. And so they had Princess Leia do it, and the feminists are calling, we have the story on Infowars.com, for that to be banned and taken down. So they're just making normal human activity, men, hitting on women. And if you talk to a woman, that's fine, I think. I don't think it's very gentlemanly to whistle at them. But if they then ignore you and you keep pushing it, then it starts to become harassment. But I've had women, back when I was about 30 pounds lighter than I am now, whistle at me, from the time I was about 14 to the time I was about 25. And did I get mad? No. And by the way, I'll be honest with you, back in college and stuff, I whistled at plenty of women, and I got plenty of hot dates from doing it. So there's a reason people do it. A lot of women like it. And this is just human activity. If a male badger runs up and scratches the dirt and makes an excited noise to a female badger, is it harassment? Should he be locked up? Is he some kind of evil racist or something, or is he a sexist? This is just trying to create more class warfare. This is simply trying to create more divisions, more manipulation, while the globalists are attacking the very species itself. So